Sunday. When you came in the door, everyone should have gotten a really nice laminated card. Take it back to your clubs. I have some extras, I believe, if you need to have any others. And afterwards, when I get done, I do have some postcards from an organization that I will be talking about. My name is Carla Connelly. I am a member of the South Lake Junior Women's Club. I am also a member of the Oviedo Women's Club. And today is about human trafficking. Clone. It is the same as saying look alike. Modern day slavery. It's the same as human trafficking. December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery as we knew it. If your skin was not the right color, you were treated and taken in as a slave prior to that abolishment. And here we are, 154 years later, fighting to abolish a slavery that has no preference to skin color, gender, financial status of you or your family. They only have a preference as to the dollar they can make from selling you or your child. Human trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery from which traffickers profit from the control and exploitation of others. Criminalized under both federal and state law, it is defined as the transporting, soliciting, recruiting, harboring, providing, or obtaining of another person for transport for the purposes of forced labor, domestic servitude, or sexual exploitation using force, fraud, and or coercion. Victims of trafficking may experience a host of health-related problems and are high risk of injury, illness, and even death from the circumstances of their forced treatment and bondage. Some of them, unfortunately, by the time they are located and rescued, have a background of a criminal history themselves because of the things that they've been forced to do. So then it becomes difficult for them to find a job, to get back into society, to become normal again, or whatever is normal to them. So accept it or ignore it. Sex trafficking in Florida is a huge problem, with statistics from the Department of Health showing that Florida has the third highest trafficking numbers in the country. Much of this trafficking is within the tourism industry. And it's not just tourism. Our children are being groomed, and it might take 3 to 6 months. They are people that our kids know, and they might be coming home, and you'll just never know about it because they're being threatened. If you tell your parents, we will hurt your family. So they just kind of go about their day. They might look happy on the inside, but they're screaming happy on the outside, but screaming on the inside. It is my goal to connect every women's and junior women's club in the state of Florida with an organization called Love Missions. I did put their information on the back side of that laminated card that you have. I want the numbers to begin showing that GFWC Florida is the third highest in fighting this thing called modern day slavery. Love Missions is based out of Sanford, Florida. It is dedicated to the abolishment of modern day slavery and child exploitation. Their mission is to provide safe homes for children rescued out of their horrible situation and provide them with healing, hope, and restoration. Love Missions empowers survivors through job creation and mentorship programs, providing training and education. And just because they're based out of Sanford, they cover all of Central Florida. They are partnered with shelters everywhere. So no matter where you live in Florida, they can connect you, and you can connect with them and do things with them. The Oviedo Women's Club that I belong to, Diana Salvino is here today, and I'm so glad she's here. They started making freedom bags last year, and she is in charge of that committee, and they meet once a month, and there's eight of you. They did 42 of these bags for freedom. They're called freedom bags, and they get filled up with donations that they receive, with toiletries, a word of encouragement, healthy snacks. These are gold. Tina would love to have more of our women's and junior women's clubs making these, and Diana will be glad to get your information to send you a pattern, to get with you, to connect with you, to see how your club can get involved in making these beautiful bags. They're wonderful, they're nice and sturdy too. But they're important because these people, when they're rescued, these women, these children, and some men, when they're rescued, they have a black garbage bag. Who wants that? Who wants to take their personal stuff around in a black garbage bag? You want to feel like you're important and you're worthy and you're valuable, because you are, and it's not your fault. Tina's passion came from the result of being born to a prostitute in Northern California, and she recalls being forced into sex work as early as the age of 4, and that lasted into her teens. So I encourage you, please go online, read her full story. The website is on the handout that I gave to you. Earlier this year, the State's Hotel Association successfully fought proposed legislation that would hold businesses liable for trafficking. This was a bill that Love's mission founder, Tina, went to Tallahassee to help fight for, along with many other victims on this crime. It's called the HB 851 Human Trafficking Bill, and it was signed into law by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in June of this year and became effective July 1st, 2019. The new law carries a fine of $2,000 a day for businesses that fail to comply after a warning. Tina said after signing of the bill into law, "I am so excited to see progress. We have fought long and hard to get these laws changed to protect our children. We may not be completely where we want to be, but today we celebrate steps forward for the future of this generation and the next. This is a huge step forward and is going to save many lives." An announcement was made by the American Hotel and Lodging Association in July, who vowed to fight widespread sex trafficking on its properties through a new campaign they have started called No Room for Trafficking. So they are training all of their employees on what to look for, where to report it to, and how to continue with that. It is my goal to have at least 70% of junior and women clubs combined to fight human trafficking, to fight this modern day slavery as we unfortunately know it. Because it's everywhere. It's under our noses. It's in Lake County, it's in Orange County, it's in Seminole County, it's in Hernando County. It is everywhere. So make sure you get one of these postcards, and you've got my other handout. Were you guys at the workshop last year?
Yeah.
So you know I like to be interactive. Okay, excellent. So you won't be quiet. Woo! When I throw out this dice, okay? Who's ready to catch this morning? You're gonna catch it? Okay, then you have to throw it. So when you catch it, okay, so what number are you gonna land on? 5, okay. What is the percentage of victims? Estimates in the U.S. exceed 14,500 to 17,500 annually, of which 80% are women and children. Globally, the numbers range from 600,000 to 4 million people who are trafficked worldwide each year. It's crazy, isn't it? You wanna go ahead and throw that out?
Where would, yeah, right there.
Oh. If you want, scratch down your email address and hand it to me and I'll email it to you.
It doesn't throw like a ball.
But I also get my information from the Department of Health Statistics as well.
No, go for it. You got number 1 right there.
One? Okay, what causes human trafficking? There is not one clear-cut cause for trafficking, but its continued proliferation worldwide can be traced to demand for cheap labor and services, including paid sex, because consumers are willing to purchase both commercial sex and cheap goods produced using forced labor. The profit margins for trafficking are high, while the risk of being caught and incarcerated is low. Even with the $2,000 a day fine now, I mean, hopefully that's gonna put a dent in it and people will start getting caught. Okay, let's go throw it out again.
You might want to bop it like a ball. Watch out, people. Number 3.
Right. Who is at risk? Well, similar to domestic violence, victims come from a variety of racial, ethnic, educational, and socioeconomic backgrounds. However, greater susceptibility is found among homeless and runaway youth, previous victims of domestic violence and or sexual assault, and foreign nationals who may particularly be vulnerable due to lack of familiarity with language and customs, or challenges with work papers or documentation. Traffickers prey upon the defenseless and exploit those vulnerabilities for profit. Ooh. What is the estimated annual money made for trafficking? Does anybody know roughly what they think it might be the annual money made for human trafficking? It is a $150 billion industry annually. It just gives me the chills. It just, ugh. Okay, next. Oh, yes.
How with that money, I mean, are we talking about men or a company? My question is, all that $150 billion, how does it come about in the, is this like a group of men in a particular city, like Fort Lauderdale?
They're all over, and they have a thing called the Players Ball in Miami. Every year, I've only heard about it, and unfortunately, your politicians, that they're like, yeah, look at what we did. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's very disgusting, but they do, and you find out about these things, but because they have politicians in their pockets, no one's stopping them. So the more we get together and the more we find these people and we rescue these victims, their numbers start going down. Yes?
I want to make sure it's not just men, there's a lot
No,
of women involved.
it's women and children, yes. Oh, yes.
There's mothers that put their children out there.
Yes, like Tina's mother did.
Because
If I can interject, we had someone from the sheriff's department 2 years ago come to visit our club, and he said, it doesn't matter what political party you belong to, everybody is on the take. Whether they're farmers, whether they're businessmen, they're looking to make it buck quick. And
Yes.
they're using migrants, they're using all these illegals who are coming in. If you go to, for example, if you go to a nail tech place and you see a lot of
Asians.
Asians, if I may say, and you do not see certificates on the wall that they have a license to perform your nails or whatever they're doing, that is a sign. He told us to contact your local FBI to let them know of suspicious activity. So all of us were kind of in shock, thinking, oh my word, how pervasive it is. And it's about businesses, whether they're large or small, making a quick, cheap buck on every single person that enters their business.
That's all it's about, the almighty dollar. All right, want to throw the ball out again? Four, okay. What are the current numbers of victims? Okay, well, here's something very shocking and sad. Every 2 minutes, a child is sold. Worldwide, there are roughly 21 million victims, and more than half of those are found in Asia. In Southeastern Europe, more than 4 out of every 1,000 people are exploited by trafficking. Heads up, gotta pay attention. 6, what is the average age of entry into prostitution? For girls in the U.S., the age is 12, and for boys, age 11, as reported in 2014 by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. 1 in 6 endangered runaways reported that they were likely sex trafficking victims. Two, okay, this is the bonus question. Bonus question answer. Human trafficking is not just about sex. It does also involve labor trafficking. People are forced to work, as you mentioned, like in the nail salon, or work through coercion, threats, violence, or fraud. And examples of that are involuntary child labor, forced domestic servitude, and farm workers forced through violence to perform field labor. Factory workers forced into labor with little to no pay and inhumane conditions are also victims of trafficking. So I hope that you will take all of this information that you will get with Diane, and maybe give her your information, that your clubs will want to either do toiletries, put together some donations, connect with Tina, make the freedom bags, become someone's hero. Become the hero that they need in their story, and don't just let them be forgotten. Yes, ma'am. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. The postcards, I have them right here. So I'll have them up here with me. Anybody else? Nope. That is all I have on human trafficking. I hope that you gained something from it. I will consider coming out to your clubs to speak if you would like for me to do that. My segment was recorded today, so I will be putting it on the GFWC Domestic Violence Facebook page later on today. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have Tina's information, or so we can?
I do. It's actually on here. On the back side is Tina's information.
Great.
And I also have a postcard if you want an extra postcard and a business card.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.